And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is Thursday as we get ready for a longer weekend. Easter weekend is approaching. I do hope you have plans to get with family and friends. Make sure if you've got a big cooking, if you've got somebody around your neighborhood that doesn't have a place to go, invite them over. Always good to have a good Easter dinner. Don't leave anybody alone if you can. We'll check your forecast in a moment, but I'll give you a hint on this. It is chilly this morning as we've got about 43. Wind chill factor hovering between 39 and 40. It's nippy out there. I noticed Odie wearing a short sleeve shirt on such a cool morning. We'll leave it at that and pick on him in a little while there. We've got a lot of details of what's gone on over the last 24 hours nationwide. Then we'll get into all the local events beginning at 7 this morning. Don't miss out on a thing. Join us, won't you? So many of you up, Miss Charlotte, I see you. Laura, Todd, how are you? James, Miss Pam. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We'll be right back after we take a moment and pause and get a good word for the day.
As we continue in Holy Week, today is what the church has typically called Maundy Thursday. Not Monday, but Maundy. Maundy is from a Latin word that means commandment and refers to Jesus' institution of the Lord's Supper, where Jesus commanded us, "Do this in remembrance of me." And look, it's easy to fall into the trap of going through the motions in life. Some days may feel like you do the exact same thing you did the day before, and then tomorrow feels the same as today, and next week will feel the same as this week, and so on and so forth. Routine and structure are good to a certain extent, but if we're not careful, we can become people who know what we're doing, but we forget why we do it. Well, obviously, this can infiltrate our spiritual lives too. We go to church, worship, Sunday morning, but do we remember why? We volunteer for this event or that event, but do we remember why? We offer to help someone out in need, something good, which is awesome. Do we remember why? Perhaps one element of church life where we can get used to the routine and forget why we do it is this thing called the Lord's Supper. In Matthew 26, right before he was about to be captured, crucified, and killed, Jesus instituted this ordinance that we as the church are called to observe. He took bread and wine, blessing both, and gave them to his disciples to eat. And look, this was no mere snack. Before they ate the bread, he told them that the bread was his body. In other words, the bread represented what Jesus was about to do in giving his life on the cross. He then told them that the wine represented the blood that he would shed for the remissions of sins for the whole world. When partaking of the Lord's Supper, look, we should always remember and be mindful of what Christ has done. But this is true for our whole lives as well. If I came to you and asked you, what do? You could list off a long, long list. But if I ask you why, what would you say? Why do you parent the way that you do? Why do you serve the way that you do? Why do you belong to this church or that church? Why do you wake up in the morning? The root of everything we do should start with the work of Jesus on the cross and rising from the grave. That should be our why for all we do. As we think about Easter, about his death and resurrection, and what he did for us, we know what he has done and why. What will you do in response, and why will you do it? May we live for him because change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Brother JJ, don't forget they'll be having Easter services Sunday morning as well. A lot of churches will. I hope you'll get out and join one. Well, as we start looking around what's going on nationwide, is it a such thing as a city pricing itself out of business? I ask because of New York. It's going to be a toll to get into Manhattan now. Coming soon to you, and they say within just a few months, $15 per car. Trucks will be higher to enter from, 61st Street and below that to enter Manhattan. $15 a car. Now, it is congested, I do know that, but wow. Cabs will pay an extra fee for people inside. I don't have the numbers. I got them somewhere to where, Houston, Texas? Bankrupt? We'll talk about that in a little while also. We see in Alabama as we go to Birmingham, a college that is nearly 170 years old will have to close its doors at the end of May. Birmingham Southern College. They have no money. It's over 100 acres. Birmingham, Alabama will be closing there. Just can't afford to go on. A lot of colleges probably in that shape that the federal government bails out. Lawsuit, sometimes there's more to the story, but the best I can understand with this has been people complaining for years in Chicago about a particular doctor. One finally got through and won a case, as now they see over 300 women over decades are going to be in a class action lawsuit of being sexually assaulted by a gynecologist. Bad news when you trust upon a doctor and they do bad things. It looks as though this one is headed to court. Looks like a big win. Now, we've all heard about NASCAR. Well, it really did start on moonshiners trying to outrun the law, and faster cars made them get away. But as we go to the North Carolina Speedway, the Wilkesboro Speedway, to be particular, they have found underneath the bleachers, behind the concrete, yes, sir, I think it's 700 feet to where they were hiding moonshine, possibly. It was hidden under the bleachers there, covered in concrete of where they used to work and have stills. They hadn't proved it yet, but probably a lot of truth to that. You wouldn't have just an area like that concreted up underneath the bleachers. Let's see here. Multiple women in New York City saying as they're walking around, they're being punched, actually hit. As we've heard of these things that go on in these larger cities to where they do these games to where they take a certain person and punch. And it looks like that's becoming popular in New York to hit women. Let's see here. We have a former correctional officer that has been arrested with this. This is one of those in California as we go there to women's prison. He's been arrested for sexually abusing inmates. Nothing to smile about, is it? They have been draining a tank in Pearl Harbor that has been leaking. They say that it leaked fuel into Pearl Harbor and caused a lot of troubles there with the spill. It started in 2021, but they have fully got everything drained now. Biden having to rely on his friends. What was that song, I Can Get By With a Little Help from My Friends? He's got Bill Clinton. He's also got Barack Obama out campaigning for money for him to help with the election. No surprises there, is it? There is so much that we don't know yet about what's going on with P. Diddy or Diddy. Raids. There's talks of sexual... And I don't know, and Odie, we'll talk about this more, but have y'all seen this of the music producer who talked about where there was videos all through his house? He would throw a party and there were cameras rolling at all time. He would catch certain things going on that may have been that somebody didn't want to know, and then when it come time for a record deal, he would offer them a low ball figure and say, well, we can always show this. Oof. None of that is proven yet in a court of law, but there's so much going on that we don't know. We'll watch this case and talk about it more. Right under, what was it, R. Kelly? That was this going to spend probably a long, long time in jail. Now, here's a new twist. Nashville, Tennessee, as we were all told that Riley Strain died of natural causes after falling in the Cumberland River. Y'all remember that? The young man who disappeared after stumbling out of Luke Bryan's bar? The autopsy has come back. He did not drown. More to this story, it looks like. Nothing else has been said except it was not a drowning. Will we ever know? I'm not sure. But I'm sure the investigation will go a little further now after that came out there. We do, as we look at this, what's going on there with the bridge that fell, the Francis Scott Key, we found out now that some of that cargo is leaking hazardous chemicals. Can't be moved just yet. I think it was 56 containers on this ship were carrying hazardous materials, and they were breached where the bridge fell on it. They are scrambling to fix this. Now, it's bad if you decide to run for president and your mama won't even vote for you. Poor RFK. She's voting for Biden. We'll leave it at that. But that should be a sign, should it not? I think so. We'll be right back and get into your weather forecast as we begin this morning. Let's put a smile on. Carry that jacket. You can take it off later. High expected to be somewhere around 69. It was nippy a lot yesterday with that wind. So carry your jacket. Have it on standby in case you need it. We'll be right back in just a moment. Summertime has arrived, and Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 has the exact lawnmower for your need. If you've got a big yard with acres and acres to mow, they have a mower for that. No matter the size yard you have, Freeman Tractor has the lawnmower that fits you and your budget. From 48-inch all the way up to 60, or the X-Mark lawnmower. Plenty of these to choose from. Also, they carry a complete line of LS tractors. Come by for a test drive today. Financing available. Drop in today to Freeman Tractor, Highway 494, see coleslaw or buttermilk. Philadelphia Gun and Pawn, located at 910 Posey Avenue, has tons of lawnmowers to choose from. A big selection of zero-turn lawnmowers, power washers, and even barbecue grills. Step inside the store and see their complete line of Liberty safes along with those Browning safes. A large selection of Louis Vuitton purses along with satin shirts and bead sets. And tons to choose from for the outdoorsman in your household. And always a great deal on any type of jewelry you're looking for. And a private lobby for pawns for your confidentiality. Philadelphia Gun and Pawn.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Those record highs and record lows. Look at this. 1910, it was warm today. 89 as we go back to 1894. Whew, 29 on to date for those record highs and lows. As we look at today's high, somewhere 68, 69 is what we're looking at. But look at this beautiful sunshine forecasted throughout the state. Should see 67, 8 or so in Columbus over to the Mississippi River, pretty much straight down, hovering at 67-ish. As we see Hattiesburg and areas closer to the coast, about 70. As we go east, we'll see almost the same weather pattern. 69 in Tuscaloosa, 68-ish there in Birmingham, depending upon what side of it you're in Birmingham. 69 in Demopolis as well. Now, as we look across, it's a little bit cooler. That's why we're seeing these mornings like this of 39 that we have today. Wind chill, at least. We've got 43 on the temperature side there. As we look at about our 7-day forecast, look at Monday coming. It's fixing to get warm. For today, 69. Tomorrow, Good Friday, will end with a high of 75 and sunshine. As we get into the weekend, 79 on Saturday, and Easter Sunday looks to be a perfect 81 degrees. We'll even see 85 on Monday. A little bit of chance of showers and thunderstorms possible there on Tuesday, with somewhere around 81 being the high. As we go another week into this, we're still holding steady, anywhere from 70 to upper 70s. So we're getting warmer and warmer, aren't we? Showers will move in around the 7th of April and hang with us at least to the 11th. We'll watch this closely to see what becomes of that. As we look at our fishing forecast today, it looks like this afternoon is the time to be there, around 3:30 until 5:30 if you got to go fishing. Now, the wind looks to be kind of gusty there north, 5 to 10 with gusts of somewhere around 25 miles an hour. No burning when we have gust. Just isn't worth it, is it? Not at all there. As we begin another beautiful day, we want to say thank you for dropping by. Again, we will have all your local headlines coming up very shortly. We'll fire off in, if I'm looking at the clock right, in about 10 minutes we'll go live. Have you a complete rundown of what's going on locally, and we'll take a look at some more national things that are happening. All on the way beginning at 7. Won't you join us? Sure hope so. Y'all join us. We'll be right back.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners.